Hi, hello, my name is Sam, my pronouns are they, them, and welcome back to my office. So, is this the video that I thought I was going to be making? No. I thought that I was going to be making a video regarding a sapphic fantasy book that I have been dying to read for months now, but my Netgalley is not going well right now. So we need to get our ass into gear and get some Netgalley scenarios started back up. I'm going to, so this will either get broken up into 2 or 3 different vlogs depending on how it goes, because right now I have 6 books on my Netgalley shelf that I need to deal with. So honestly, we're going to start with the 2 books that I am the least excited about, but they are due like in 9 days. So feedback needs to be given. I need to read these books. One of the books I've been reading for at least a month now, and I'm just really genuinely like struggling through it. I don't know if I like it or if I hate it, but like I kind of want to keep going with it. Like I don't feel strongly enough either way to decide if I'm going to DNF at this point, and I'm 40% of the way through. So, and that is the Titanic Survivors Book Club by Timothy Schaffert by Timothy Schaffert. So this is a gay kind of fiction fantasy, and it is starring a group of people who are Titanic survivors because they had tickets to get on the Titanic and they actually ended up not getting on the Titanic that day for a multitude of different reasons. And we are following 3 people in particular. One who was a librarian who got like fired and kicked off the Titanic before it could launch, was not allowed to get on. We are following one man who is a photographer and was going to America for, I believe, something art related, and he ended up he was hanging out with a guy, and the guy professed his love for him, and he was like, yo, that's not for me. And that's why he didn't get on the Titanic. And then we are following a woman who is the heiress to like a candy company or whatever, and her family actually were turned away from the Titanic because her and I believe her mother are Asian, so they were turned away from like their first class scenario. The people on the Titanic tried to be like, well, you can't be here, but we could put you here, and they were insulted, and they did not get on the Titanic, rightfully so. And it's like this weird like love triangle kind of scenario of like friendship, but like maybe not, I don't know. I'm not really enjoying the dynamics right now. So the artist photographer is in love with the candy heiress, and then the librarian is just kind of like lusting after the photographer. And right now I'm at a point where the photographer is having the librarian slash bookseller like type out letters for the candy heiress to try and get her to fall for the photographer, and it's just weird. It's just weird. I can genuinely say that I'm not having a good time with it, so I'm not sure how much further I will read in this, but I don't really feel at this point that I want to stop in DNF yet. So we'll see with that one. And then the other one that I need to get through is one that I'm a little bit more excited about. It is Call Forth a Fog by Markelle Grabo. And this one I'm not entirely sure what it's about, and I'm not entirely sure what this is about. I know it's YA, I know that it's fantasy, and I know that it's sapphic. So I am not excited about it, but I think that I just need to get into that one before I decide further how I feel about it. Other than that, so I'll give you a breakdown of the books, the other 4 books that I have that I know that I need to read, and I'm not sure what kind of vlog they're going to be in, if this is going to be 2 or 3 to get me caught up. But I have Compound Fracture by Andrew Joseph White. I am the most excited about that one. I have Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin, which I'm incredibly excited about. I have Don't Let the Forest In. I don't know. I have Don't Let the Forest In. And then I have The White Guy Dies First. I know that The White Guy Dies First it's an horror anthology, and I know that H.E. Edgman is in it, which is why I requested it, because I'm obsessed with H.E. Edgman. But I also need to remember to check to see if that one's published by St. Martin's Press, because I know that their newer books are published with SMP. So I might not talk about that book at all in this. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I need to check the publications for those ones before anything, because I'm still doing the SMP boycott. They still have not said anything in regards to their incredibly racist employee. I feel like they've only like pushed down further and just been like, y'all don't matter, bye-bye. And that's not the vibe. So I'm still doing my best to make sure I try and not read or platform any SMP books, or Wednesday books or anything like that. I'm sure that I've made a mistake at some point in the past 6+ months. But fingers crossed I haven't, fingers crossed I don't. So right now I'm gonna go make myself a snack and start reading the Titanic Survivors book club. Right now I'm at 40% of the way through, so let's try and get through a hefty chunk of that today. Okay, y'all. Hi, hello. So I am like 70% of the way through my Titanic book. Let me go grab my phone. Okay, so I lied. I am 78% of the way through the Titanic Survivors book club. And I'm gonna finish it because I feel the need to finish it. Am I loving it? No. No, not at all. So I don't know how much I've actually told about this, but this is told in 3 separate parts. So the first part is this group of Titanic survivors, and by that I mean that they all had tickets to get on the Titanic, and for various different reasons they did not get on the Titanic for that day. So we are mainly following 3 people. Yorick, who is an ex-librarian and a new bookseller, Hansel, who is a struggling artist, and Zinnia, who is like an heiress to an American-Japanese candy empire. So we're following them as they fall into this weird kind of like throuple scenario. They're in Paris. Homosexuality is like not a thing that is legal. And Yorick is gay as the day is bright. Oh my god. And Hans is definitely like something. Hans just likes people for the most part, I think. And he's just like a flirt trying to make his way through the world. And Zinnia is just like emotional and wonderful. And Zinnia is my favorite character, let's be honest here. So they kind of fall into this weird like throuple scenario that blows up in their faces, and it's like horrible, but they're all like bestie. It's the shenanigans. It's shenanigans. It blows up in their face, and then it's 3 years after the Titanic, and World War I starts, and Hans decides to go out to the front line to take pictures. He's not actually on any draft, any registry, anything. He's just like, no, I need to go and photograph like on the front lines so people can see what it's actually like out there. So you can see like the nitty gritty, not what the newspapers are willing to show you. And it goes from there, and then part 3 is kind of Zinnia and Yorick like together having this weird like relationship just centralized on like Hans as a whole. And I'm just like, y'all are weird. Y'all are being weird, and I'm not enjoying it. I'm not liking it very much. So out of the 78% that I've read, I think I have actively enjoyed 20%. I think that I wasn't enjoying my time in the beginning. We got about 50% of, or maybe 40% of the way through, and I really started to get into it, and I really liked it. And did you just eat a bug? You just ate a bug. And then now I'm just not enjoying it again. So I don't think this one was for me. I'm still gonna try to finish it up today. and then we can start Call Forth a Fox, which I think that I'm going to like a lot better. And hopefully it won't take me a month to read, because I've been reading the Titanic book club survivor guide or whatever it is, I don't even know, for like a month. It has slowed down my it's like put me to a stop. It has put me in a major slump. So I should have DNF'd it, but now I just want to know what happens at the end now. So wish me luck. Okay, this is footage for the Netgalley vlog. Okay, hold on, I'm pulling up Netgalley. Hold on, now I'm pulling up Storygraph. Hi, booger. Okay, so I don't think we've talked enough about the Titanic Survivors Book Club by Timothy Schaffert. I don't think I gave a final update on that book. Oh, Ellie! And so I already submitted my review for it, and ultimately my review just came out to be that I didn't enjoy it. I gave it a 2-star, and ultimately I still stand by the fact that I enjoyed about 20% of the book, and I did not enjoy, like, I actively did not enjoy 80% of the book. The writing style for me was really hard to get through. It was like wading through mud trying to get through this book, and it put me in a massive reading slump. I should have DNF'd it. I don't know why I didn't. It was a poor choice on my end, and I feel strongly that I disliked this book. This followed 3 main characters after they did not drown on the Titanic because they did not use their tickets to board. We are following 3 main characters. There's like a bunch of them, but our 3 main ones joined in this weird love triangle. It is like kind of like a queer romance, but it's very messy, and then we ultimately end up going into World War I, and then it is a huge conversation about grief and what happens when you lose that kind of like center point in a love triangle, and what is kind of left of the survivors of said love triangle. And it's very weird, and I just did not like it. So that one was not for me, which is disappointing because it was on my most anticipated 2024 list, and I did not like it. So then I started reading Call Forth a Fox by Markelle, Grabo, and I actually DNF'd this one, but I don't have as strong of feelings about this book as the Titanic Survivors book, whatever, the Titanic book. Honestly, when I submitted feedback about this, it was just some general feedback. I feel the same way I feel about Ava Reed's books about this book. Like, I was reading through it, I probably got like 50 to 75% of the way through, and I was not having a bad time. Like, I was not sitting there like, oh, I'm wasting my time with this. What is wrong with me? Why am I reading this? The pacing was good, the writing style was good, but there was just something about it that was not clicking. Which the same thing happens with me with every Ava Reed book that I read. I've read 3 of her books so far, and every single one, it's just like, I don't dislike it, I don't feel like I'm wasting my time, but I'm not like enjoying myself. And I think it's just a me thing, because other people absolutely love Ava Reed. So the feedback that I gave to the publisher, I was just like, look, I enjoyed the writing style of this a lot. I enjoyed the pacing a lot. I think that this is going to be a really good option for people who are into Ava Reed but want something a little less horror focused and a little bit more YA. I think this is going to be a good direction to push people in. So ultimately it is about a young girl and her sister. They are come upon by a bear that is actually a boy and a fox that is actually a girl, and it's all like that whole scenario. It's very interesting, and it just wasn't for me, but I think that this definitely has a strong audience for other people. I think that when it comes to fantasy, like, I'm just super particular, and vibes like Call Forth a Fox and Ava Reed's books are just not like my vibes, and I think that's fine, because the feedback that I gave to the publisher also was that I would recommend this book to certain people still. Like, I would not recommend the Titanic book at all to anyone, honestly. But I would still recommend Call Forth a Fox. I think that it is a worthy book to read still, and I think that there is a large audience that would have a really good time with this. I just think that I am sadly not that audience, and I thought I was going to be, but I guess I'm not, and that's okay. I don't feel salty about that. I am taking it in stride. So with that, I have decided that I'm doing this Netgalley vlog in 2 parts instead of 3 parts, because I don't feel like I had enough to say about Titanic Survivors Book Club or Call Forth a Fox. So I think that I am actually going to pick up Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin for my next Netgalley book. I'm not going to pick it up right this second. I'm going to pick up something in between. I'm going to pick up a T. Kingfisher book because T. Kingfisher books always pull me out of a slump. And I don't want to go into Cuckoo in a slump because Gretchen Felker Martin wrote Manhunt that I read last year for, I believe, Summerween. And I'm so sorry, my dogs are drinking right now. Both of them are drinking. One started drinking and then the other one was like, oh yeah, there's water, let me drink some water. Would you also like to get a drink? You're looking like you might want to go get a drink. Cat might start drinking. But I don't want to go into Cuckoo in a reading some kind of mood. She wrote Manhunt that I read last year for Summerween, and I did not really expect to like it very much, but what are you doing? I was obsessed with it. So Manhunt was about like a zombie. It was a zombie book where the main thing that caused someone to turn into zombies was the amount of testosterone they had in their system. So like all of the like cis men, people with high testosterone levels, like stuff like that, they all became zombies, and they were violent, they were fast, they R-worded, and then they like ate you, tore you to oh, it was horrifying. So we followed 2 trans women and 1 trans man throughout their story, their adventure. It was messy, it was horrific, it was a story that I should not have enjoyed because I am someone who hates body horror and I hate gore. But she just did something to that story that made it amazing. I loved it. I think that my partner would like it more than I would, but I really liked it to the point where I'm like, wow, if this author can make me like something that I notoriously dislike so much, like obviously she is the vibe, she is the moment. So I'm super excited to pick up Cuckoo, and I think it's going to be everything. So I'm going to spend the night reading, trying to pull myself out of a slump, and then I will get back to you when I first start Cuckoo. So, hi, hello. I am currently at work. It is Sunday, July 16th, and I am doing some embroidery for our Pride event next week. And I'm not actually like working, I'm just using the machines, I'm off the clock. So I'm just kind of vibing and I'm reading while everything's embroidering. So I have started Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin. I am on chapter 2 right now. And oh my god, she has done it again. She has fucked me up again. I feel like when I was reading Manhunt, I think it was last year, that I was right here. Like I was right, this is a big ass table in our building, and I was right here gasping over Manhunt and how fucked up it is. And I am 10% of the way through Cuckoo right now, and I am gasping with how fucked up it is. It is so fucked up. Okay. So I don't even know what to say this is about since I'm only on chapter 2, but so I've read the epilogue and I've read chapter 1. The epilogue was quite, or not the epilogue, the prologue. The prologue was quite long. And we were following Monica, who was a mother of a young sapphic person who they sent away to this camp. And I feel like it's okay to tell you all this because that was just the prologue. So like that if you were to pick up the book, this would be like the first chapter that you read. And Monica is going absolutely fucking insane, cleaning her house like a crazy person because of the thoughts she's having revolving around her daughter, who she sent away to like a revisionist camp or whatever you want to call it. And then one day, out of nowhere, her daughter just shows up at her front door, and she's like this perfect, godly, feminine person, and Monica is just like, who the fuck are you? You're not my daughter. Like, what the fuck is going on? And no one will believe her. And everyone's like, oh no, look at how perfect she is. She's just a perfect little angel, because she's a perfect God-fearing woman now, who is a straight A student in high school and volunteers 3 days a week at the church, at this mega church, this post-Reagan era mega church. And then Monica comes home one day and she hears like moaning and slurping coming from her bedroom, and she thinks that her husband's having an affair, or her husband's going through like this box. She keeps referencing this box. That's like full of secrets or whatever, and she's trying to pretend like it's not there, but apparently a couple weeks ago she had opened it. And now she's just like, oh my god, it's not there, it's not anything. There is no box. And she comes home to her daughter straddling her husband with her face like open and tentacles, like wispy tentacles coming out of slits in her arms and out of her face, and just like eating her father. I don't even know what. And then Monica screams, fucking sprints. The daughter comes, chases her down, climbs on top of her after she falls down the stairs, snaps her fucking tibia in two, drags her into the basement, hauls her onto a couch, and the last scene we get is the daughter's face like peeling open, like I don't even know. Something from Stranger Things, I guess. I don't know. That thing with the face that like peels open like a flower petal. And it's just so fucked up. So then chapter 1, we find Shelby, who is a trans woman, who is from an adopted, like, highly Christian family. We get her getting kidnapped by the people for this camp. And then we also get the image of Nadine, a sapphic, like, butch. They've referred to her as, like, a dyke, but, like, a sapphic butch person, also getting, like, taken by these people, because these families are paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to have their children kidnapped and brought to these fucking conversion camps. That's what they're called, conversion camps, not revisionist camps. And that's where we're at so far. And I'm just like, what the fuck? She's done it again. She's absolutely done it again. This one, so this vlog so far has been such a flop. This Netgalley vlog has been such a flop so far. And Gretchen Felker Martin is coming through to save the day. Because she is perfect. She is such an unexpected author for me to be absolutely obsessed with. And I am absolutely obsessed with her. So this is going to save this vlog. Can't wait. Let's keep reading. Okay, so I'm like 25% of the way through Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin. And it is so good so far. It is so good. I think that the thing is fucking me up is that we're following so many different characters though. Like, we're following like maybe 8 different characters. The ones I can name off the top of my head: Joe, Nadine, Smith. There's one that I really like that starts with a V. I forget his name right now. He's a trans man from a Mexican family. And I'm really enjoying his character. But I'm forgetting his name right now. And then we're following John. Oh my god, what's her name? I don't remember her name. She is a trans, I believe, Korean woman from an adopted family. I'm forgetting her name. We're following Malcolm, Gabe. That's all I can name off the top of my head. I know I'm missing people. We are following so many different people, so that's fucking me up. And there are definitely some certain perspectives that I prefer over others, but I'm really enjoying this. I think that it is so well written, and I think that as I experience the characters a little bit more, I will start to remember them a little bit more clearly. Obviously, I'm not doing a very good job at that right now because one of my favorite characters, I forget his name, but yeah. I'm loving it so far. It's super interesting. It's super well written. It's very eerie, and I love her writing, and we could tell some shenanigans are about to be afoot, but it's violent, it's a little bit gory, it's horrifying to read, it's traumatizing, and I'm loving every second of it. Okay, hi, hello, it is Tuesday. Hi. June 25th. And I am 46% of the way through Cuckoo by Gretchen, Felker, Martin. And let me just say that I'm obsessed with her. I'm absolutely obsessed with her. She is very quickly becoming an all-time favorite author of mine. Like up there with River Solomon favorite. I am just horrified by everything that I'm reading. It's just fucking amazing. It's horrifying. Let's be honest here. So we are following a group of, God, I don't even know how many kids anymore. Somewhere between like 5 and 8, I believe, because one of them's like kind of dead. I can't keep track of them all anymore. Felix, Nadine, Joe, John, Malcolm, Gabe, Shelby. Okay, so I believe that we're like 7 or 8 because something happened with Smith. And they all got sent off to a conversion camp by their parents in really traumatic ways. Like, it's not like, oh, I just put you in a car and you went away. Like, no, these kids were tracked down, beaten, abused, shoved in a van, like, while most of their families just kind of watched them being kidnapped. So that's traumatizing. But now we're following them at the conversion camp, and it is not just a conversion camp. The way that I am currently describing it, 46% of the way through, it is like a Body Snatchers-esque conversion camp horror. So there are like these creatures that are like invading their minds or whatever, and like you're just hearing like the most fucked up shit in the world. Like I have some quotes that I will end up reading to y'all once I get to the end of this. And that's how much I'm loving the writing. Like, I'm actually screenshotting it so I can kind of talk to you about the quotes and how stunning and horrifying the writing is. But like, one of the scenes was like this creature getting into this kid's mind and just being like, my flesh, my body, like, are your holes ready? Like, my little clot. And I'm just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's just insane. So right now, 46% of the way through, this group of like 7 or 8 are plotting to get out of the conversion camp. And seeing that we're only 46% of the way through, obviously it's not going to go well. Obviously things are going to go awry. You're very cute right now. So I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of not really ready to see what horrible things happen. There has been, so this is not a book to take lightly. It talks pretty in detail about sexual abuse, violence, homophobia, transphobia, religious trauma. There are really graphic scenes of physical violence against children. So it's like, this is not an easy read. by any means. It's like really emotionally taxing and really hard to get through, but it is really, really good. So I'm going to keep reading. Honestly, like, I'm just kind of gonna spend the rest of my night reading. I wasn't planning on doing that. I was planning on doing some video editing and some other stuff too, but honestly, all I want to do is read. So that's what I'm gonna do. So we are going to go back to our spot on the couch so we can snuggle. Sadie's on the couch already. She's napping. My little old lady. So we're gonna go back to joining her and we're gonna keep reading. Right, Bug? Yeah. Sometimes she looks at me like, why are you touching me? Why are you doing that? So like I stop and I give her space to leave and then she doesn't. So I don't really know how she feels a lot of the time. I'm still catching on to her social cues. So let's go read. What the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? Oh my god, what the actual fuck, Ellie? She agrees. Genuinely. What the actual fuck just happened? Okay, I have to read something to you. Okay. The floor under the other girl's feet erupted, splintered planks and shreds of fiberglass insulation flying. The cuckoo had Nadine. Its malformed jaws worried her legs inside, shredding fabric and flesh. Dog mouths, little rat-like rodent heads, and crooked human teeth tore at her flesh. Its claws and spines punched through her skin, which tented against the penetrating barbs as it extruded a long, glistening stinger from its bloody mass and rammed it through her stomach. What the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm unwell. How do I still have 40% more of this book to fucking go? How are we not almost done? I feel like I have been through the trenches with just the horrors going on in this book. How can Gretchen Felker Martin have more horrors ready for me to consume? How am I barely halfway through the horror? Wish me luck. Okay, hi, hello. Is this where I thought I would be filming my final thoughts for Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin? No. Currently, I'm in my car. I just dropped off my friend's dog at her house. You guys are currently sitting on my copy of I'm Engaged to Mothman and a box of Swedish fish. So I think you're a little crooked, but we're gonna live with it. Because ultimately, first of all, the lighting's good. Second of all, they live on the water, so there's a gorgeous breeze. It's so hot outside. And third of all, my partner's at home. So let's talk about Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin real quick. Let me start off by saying that this is not a book to pick up without reading trigger warnings. Trigger warnings for religious trauma, gore, body horror, severe gore and body horror, sexual abuse, sexual trauma, fat phobia, transphobia, homophobia, racism. The list keeps going on. It doesn't end. But if you are okay with dealing with all of those things, if you say, hey, I've got the warning, I can walk into this and understand that these things are going to be present, graphic, and horrifying to read, I think that everyone should pick this up. So this was like Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets Conversion Camp. It's told in 2 separate parts, and it follows a group of like 8 to 10 kids as they are kidnapped to a conversion camp in the middle of the desert. They go through unspeakable horrors. We've got like a whole very diverse, interesting cast of characters. None of them are particularly likable. All of them have like actual issues that they really need to work on, and they are just the most interesting cast of characters to follow because honestly, I can't sit here and say I liked any of them, really. But I did like reading about all of them, if that makes sense. Like, I enjoyed going through each of their stories, each of their perspectives. There are a lot of perspective jumps here. I did not find it difficult to follow, but I read this as an ebook on my phone. So, in part 1, they all get kidnapped, taken to conversion camp. They are brutalized, they are traumatized, they are abused. What ends up happening is that they start to realize that things aren't quite right. There's something wrong. They're being educated in a way that doesn't make sense to any of them. It's not like a religious education, but it's like an education that doesn't, well, it is religious, but it just like doesn't make any sense the way that they are referring to anything. Because the thing educating them is not, like, they're not human. So they end up realizing that these things aren't human. And that's not a spoiler, because we start, like, the story with something that's pretty inhuman. Eventually, they end up planning an escape and escaping. The way that the escape happens is... I was screaming. This is definitely not a story where all the characters come out alive in part 1 and 2. So don't expect everyone to be alive. Don't even really expect, like, much of a happy ending. I mean, I think it's a happy ending, but there are a lot of ways that this could be seen as not so happy ending. So part 1 is the majority of the story. It's probably like 60% of the story. And then in part 2, we are following the remaining cast of characters as adults. So we are following Felix first. He stays in the mind of figuring out what's going on, catching these people for his entire life. They all escaped together. They all ended up living together, growing up together, until they eventually started leaving one by one. And Felix just forever stayed in that mindset of, I need to figure out what's going on. I need to save people. I need to figure out how deep into society these aliens have ingrained themselves. So one day, Felix realizes that he found the camp again after like 20 years or something, 10 to 20 years of just searching and going throughout conversion camps like constantly. And he ends up calling everyone up and being like, I found it. He ended up finding it because a parent who had sent their child to the conversion camp with the group originally had another child after their child died at the camp, and they were sending her to conversion camp too. So that's how this was all really figured out. And so they all end up gathering with a plan to try and kill the Cuckoo, like the main source of this alien. And let me just tell you, I screamed, I wailed, like, oh my god, there were some horrifying statements in there. I screenshotted a couple of them because I felt like y'all needed to read what I was reading. Am I dead? Is this hell? Jesus, I'm sorry, please don't. She slipped. A blow to the side of her head, the water, things in it, squirming, eager, her glasses gone, never alone, touch you, feel you, mine, wear your skin, stretch out your little holes, baby, worm, before me bow, crawl in the dark, blind, fetus, little clot. She fumbled after the glasses with shaking, bloody hands, her fingertips found the frames, she put them on, blinking blood, and unfolding from the lump of sweet that was its head, and feeling for her nostrils, her tear ducts, the canals of her ears. Oh, this was another one that was absolutely horrible. The floor under the other girl's feet erupted, splintered planks and shreds of fiberglass insulation flying. The Cuckoo had blank, not spoiling. Its malformed jaws worried her legs and side, shredding fabric and flesh, dog mouths. Little rat-like rodent heads and crooked human teeth tore at her flesh. Its claws and spines punched through her skin, which tented against the... Ugh. It's horrible. That's a death scene. Oh, here was another one that I loved. I hope blank, not spoiling, hurt you, you fucking wad of bubblegum and pubes. I hope you're screaming right now for yourself and all your little jellyfish face babies. So that is one character being like, I hope that the bitch that you just killed hurt you, and describing what that looks like. Oh my god. It's fucking insanity. Insanity. And then while they were trekking through the desert, they ended up singing a song constantly because it becomes like a hive mind. It gets stuck in their heads, so everyone's minds are all like kind of connected, and it's super fucked up. Great big globs of greasy, grimy gopher guts, mutilated monkey meat, hairy pickled piggy feet, as if to say, you're nothing special, you Spencer's gift looking bitch, you dill hole, you're just a sack of roadkill and old wigs, you're a pound of hamburger somebody dropped on the carpet. It was just so fucked up and so good in every single way. I ended up buying the book. I don't have it here with me right now because I was doing drop off, but I ended up buying a physical copy of it because I liked it so much. Gretchen Felker Martin is not an author to take lightly, but she is an author that I would recommend to people who are looking to get into horror in a more intermediate sense, I think. I don't think this is beginner horror. I think that this is more an intermediate horror. I don't think this was advanced horror because I don't think that I'm ready for advanced horror, honestly. But if you are looking to pick up a new trans horror, especially for the summer, this was such a good sci-fi horror. I honestly am giving it 5 stars. This was the success of the video because the other two were complete flops for me. But this was Gretchen Felker Martin coming in and saving the day for me. This was a stunning horror. It was traumatizing. It was well written. It was diverse. It had a large, interesting cast of characters, even though they were all fucked up and not really likable at all. Like, at all. Like, Mal was not likable at all. But I was still rooting for them at the end, you know? And the way that it wormed in, like, the body snatcher, horror, alien motifs, I think were really interesting because of the fact that it became such a psychological thing, too. Like, yes, it was physical. Yes, it was horrifying. But it got to the point where, like, the cuckoo was just inside their brains. And, like, how do you live life after having a creature like that inside your brain and knowing that so many people are dead after you escaped? And, like, living with that guilt, living with all of that. Like, it's just crazy. It was just a crazy book with crazy ways to think about it. It's the kind of book that I think that I will end up reading again. And each time I read it, I feel like I'm going to take something different from it and focus on it. So, if you are looking for a new trans horror to pick up Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin. It is beautiful. It is worth it. Just beware trigger warnings. And with that ends our part 1 of the Netgalley vlog. For part 2 of the Netgalley vlog, I will be reading Compound Fracture by Andrew Joseph White, Don't Let the Forest In, and The White Guy Dies First. So, wish me luck. Stick around for the next video. So I hope that everyone is having the most fantastic day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.